Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Today I want to just talk about something that's swirling around the news surrounding Doug Ford, Kiefer Sutherland, and Tommy Douglas. And if you don't know how those guys are connected, this video is going to explore that. So basically, Doug Ford and Lisa MacLeod, Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, and Lisa MacLeod, one of his senior cabinet ministers, basically have been making the case that Tommy Douglas would support their vision for Ontario because they're the fiscal conservatives, and that they would reject the NDP's position, which is to raise taxes and be reckless with spending, and that Doug Ford is the true heir to Tommy Douglas's legacy. And of course, that's utter BS in every way. First, Ford's not a fiscal conservative. The deficit is growing under him. But further to that, Tommy Douglas, to the extent that he was fiscally prudent, did not do so from a right-wing perspective in any way. So rightfully, people have been calling Doug Ford out. And that's been happening since he made those remarks. But it kind of just took it to a whole nother level today when Kiefer Sutherland, famous actor, most famous from 24, the famous Fox show about terrorism, came out and challenged Doug Ford. Now, Kiefer Sutherland, for those who don't know, is Tommy Douglas's grandson, and he absolutely tore into Ford, suggesting that, Doug Ford doesn't understand the meaning of Tommy Douglas's legacy and vision, and that in no way would Tommy Douglas, be like Doug Ford or support Doug Ford. And I'm just going to read that clip for you right here. Mr. Ford, your tweet has recently come to my attention, and I can only tell you that you are correct. My grandfather, Tommy Douglas, was fiscally responsible. In addition to balancing the budget of Saskatchewan, he also provided the province with paved roads, healthcare, and electricity. He did it all within 4 years. Contrary to your argument, it was never at the expense of social and human services to those in need. I personally find your comparison of your policies to his offensive, so I can only ask, as the grandson of this man, for you to stop posting his picture and using his name as part of your political agenda. After all, I knew Tommy Douglas, and you, sir, are no Tommy Douglas. P.S. You're lucky my mom's not active on Twitter. So that's a fantastic statement by Kiefer Sutherland. For those who don't know, he's referring to his mom, Shirley Douglas. She's an actor in her own right, and that's Tommy Douglas's daughter. Tommy Douglas's only daughter. And so what he's making the case for is that, yeah, Douglas was a prudent man. He didn't want to indebt socialist governments to capitalist banks. That's what it was about. It wasn't about, quote-unquote, starving the beast like Doug Ford and a lot of conservative governments want to do. It was really about ensuring that money be spent where it need be spent, not on debt, but on the public services people need. So this is a crucial remark, and I think this is really important. But I want to hammer on one additional point, which is that I see a lot of liberals sharing this and loving it and smashing that like button and that retweet button. And I just want to remind those liberals that Tommy Douglas wouldn't like Justin Trudeau either. If we're being perfectly honest, Tommy Douglas was a democratic socialist who wanted to control massive parts of the economy through public ownership. He wanted to empower workers to own the means of production in some cases. And he wanted the entire energy system of Canada to be owned by the public. Justin Trudeau supports none of this. He doesn't support any of these ideas, any of these visions. And to say that, we love this because he's tearing into Ford, be careful, because I can tell you as a historian, as somebody who's written about Tommy Douglas, both through my research on Trudeau indirectly, but also in a couple direct pieces, he would reject both the liberal and conservative visions for this country. Frankly, if I'm being 100% honest as an NDP partisan, the NDP of today would be far too conservative for Tommy Douglas. He would almost certainly be an NDP partisan. That guy bled orange until the day he died, but he would be critical, I feel, about some of the directions. So we have to be honest. Tommy Douglas was not just the father of Medicare and this, general bland progressive. He was a democratic socialist who believed in the total transformation of the Canadian economy to end capitalism, and nothing less than that would satisfy him. So he doesn't just reject Doug Ford's legacy, he rejects the legacy of most mainstream politics in Canada today. And the sooner we remember that, the sooner that we reckon with the fact that our greatest Canadian wanted to end capitalism, the sooner we can realize that if we want to be great like him, we're going to have to end capitalism and achieve what Tommy Douglas always dreamed of.